Hello, Anicod here, and today I've got something really exciting. I'm going to show you how to make a fully automatic sprinkler system using a memory cell and a few other bits. Now I'm going to assume that you've got all the water wired up already with your pump, and I'm going to assume you've already got water inside your Bowser or other water source. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the full setup the easiest way I found. So the first thing you're going to need is 3 branches, and I say it every video, but I'm not wiring this up in the most economical way. I'm just showing you the function. It's up to you if you want to mess about trying to save power. So the next thing you need is going to be a blocker. Now, pretty simple so far. I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can because it does get quite complicated. But worst case scenario, you can literally just pause the video and go step by step. So the first branch goes into the second branch. The branch out then goes into the pump power, and that's the pump powered, well, once we put electric into the branch. So there we go. Nice and simple so far. Then what we're going to need is the actual memory cell. Now this is the brain of the operation. So if you put this above the second cell, you need to then make sure it's got power from the branch directly below it. I'm just going to try and keep it nice and neat. You're then going to put the second branch electricity out into the reset. Reason being, you need to make sure there's a constant supply of electric going into the reset. You'll see why later on. So again, extremely simple so far. This is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. We're then going to need 2 timer switches. Now I'm just going to plonk them next to each other again, just to try and keep it uniform so you can see what's going on. Now the output of the left hand timer goes into the set, and when this is active it'll set the memory cell switching power from one channel to the other. Again, I'd like to think it's pretty simple so far, but we'll keep going. You then need to make sure there's power going into your timer switches so you can use the power from the branch directly below. I'll keep pausing just so you can see what's happening. It'll give you time to follow along at home if that's what you're doing. So then we'll put another branch out, and this is probably the most complicated bit, so pay attention with this. So the power out will go into the bottom of the branch, and then the branch power is going to go into the toggle switch on both timer switches. I said it's quite complicated. It's probably not that complicated, although I've done this circuit a lot of times. Once you've done that, make sure you put the output of the second timer switch into the block pass-through of the blocker. Reason being, when that puts power into the blocker, it stops power passing through. Now all you need to do is make sure everything's got plenty of electric. So all you really need is the third branch and the blocker, and you're pretty much ready to go. Now there's one final step, and that's the brains of the operation. You need the output. The easiest way to remember this, if you set it up how I have, is go right to right and left to left. So if you put the output into the switch on, and then put that inverted output into the switch off, which is on the left, so right to right, left to left, you're ready to rock and roll. Now if I turn the power on to the switch, it'll put power through everything and it'll all start rocking and rolling. Now there's a little bit of an issue, and it's the fact that both timer switches are set to 10 seconds, which means the turn off for a fraction of a second, turn back on for 10 seconds, keep turning off again. So you might have a bit of trouble catching the timer. The left hand one is for the water in amount of time, and the right hand one is the time it stays off before it reactivates. So if you remove the toggle, it allows you to activate the time. So I'm just going to put 10,000 seconds. You can put whatever you want. It depends what plants you've got in the planters, depends how often you want them watered. Fire it back up again, and then the sprinklers will stay active for 10 seconds, and then when they turn off, they'll stay off for 10,000 seconds. What I'm not going to do is sit around for 10,000 seconds for them to come back on. So I've changed one timer to 10 seconds, which is the left-hand watering timer, and the right-hand timer to 20 seconds, which means every 20 seconds, the plants will be watered for 10 seconds. So you count to 10 seconds, the sprinklers turn off. 20 seconds later, they'll turn back on again, and they'll carry on doing this until either water runs out, which is a good reason to have plenty of water being topped up. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I am going to put a link up into my gardening or farming tutorial though, to explain it a little bit more if you're unsure. And you also need to make sure you've got electricity, so wind turbines, solar panels, chargeable batteries, etc. And that's pretty much it. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. If you're still not quite getting it, I'll explain it one more time just so you can get a better understanding. So you need to make sure you've got power into your branch, power going into your pump, and then use the second branch for power into the second branch. You then need to make sure your memory cell has power and it's also got electric running permanently into the reset, so it automatically resets. You then need output and the inverted output going into the on and off. You then need to make sure that your first water in timer switch goes into your set, so it obviously sets it. Once the timer's finished, the power going into the reset will automatically reset it, like so. As you can see, the light is now red. So again, like I just mentioned, make sure you've got right to right and left to left. Nice and simple. You then need to make sure your switches have power. You've got to make sure they've toggled both from this branch, and you've got to make sure the branch is powered through the blocker. Then make sure the output from the right hand timer switch is put into the block pass through of the blocker, and that's literally it. All you've got to do then is alter your timing slightly based on what you'd prefer. So this is set up at the minute, like I mentioned, for 10-second watering time every 20 seconds. So your 10-second watering time is on the left, every 20 seconds is on the right, and you just alter it to however you want to alter it and leave it alone. You can go to the other end of the map, you can do what you want, and it'll automatically look after itself. Much easier than messing about trying to remember to go home and water your crops. Now it is a lot of components, it's component heavy, put it that way. You might be wondering why I've put a switch down as well before the splitter. It's simply just to turn everything off. So if you are running out of water, or your electricity is low, or everything's at full watered, you can just turn it off and it just deactivates everything. You don't have to put that there, I just put it there as, well, why not? So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have learnt something new, which I hope you have, I hope I've done well enough for a thumbs up. If you want to see more, feel free to give me a subscribe, and I'm going to bring out more videos similar to this. Thanks again. Bye everyone.